We're not going to make this public unless you guys want to. Steve, you ready to go? Steve, you ready to go? Tell me when to start. Start. Okay. All right. Hello, folks. My name is Kent Hovind. It's July the 5th, 2021. We are in Lenox, Alabama. We're having a meeting with several people involved here. Ernie Land, a trustee of our ministry, Brady Byram, longtime friend, Cindy Lincoln by Zoom. We're trying to resolve the conflict between Cindy Lincoln and myself about the items she donated to the ministry, and do I owe her something? Does Cindy does the ministry owe her something? So Cindy, would you like to present your case first? And we're not going to make this public unless you guys want to, because everybody's going to forget. That's not fair. Right. I just want the truth. That's not fair. Right. I just want the truth, because everybody's going to forget.
Attempting to resolve the financial dispute between Dr. Hovind, Ernie Land, Creation Science Evangelism Incorporated, and myself has ever expressed such demented perceptions of me. While this ministry helps many believe the Bible is scientifically accurate, it is abundantly evident that the men who presently run this ministry are unfaithful, unscrupulous, and unworthy of such donations from the sacrificial giving of well-meaning donors. I shared $103,000 prior to the contract, purely as a gift. After giving that much, I told my husband the rest was earmarked for replacing my monthly income from California. I had been receiving $2,000 per month since 2016 when I left California. Kent and his board knew this money was sole and separate prior to our marriage and in our marriage. They agreed and commended me for the wisdom in keeping it protected from Kent's IRS debt, I called my monthly income spousal support. I believed I had a legally binding contract to protect my investment, approximately $133,000 of additional funds on top of the $103,000 I'd already given. That's a total of $236,000 that this ministry has of my money. And when it looked like the marriage was ending, Kent, Ernie, Bill, and Brady changed their tune, and they devised many different stories to avoid paying their contract. First, they said it was not a legally binding contract. They had no authority to sign.
Because everybody's going to forget.
Then they said, it was a contract, but only for a biblically submissive spouse.
Because everybody's going to forget.
Then they said, the contract is null and void since American Express canceled the ministry card.
Because everybody's going to forget.
First of all, gentlemen, if it was not a legally binding contract, surely you knew that when you signed it, which proves premeditated, intentional, and fraudulent, misleading me, your innocent victim, into thinking I had a legally binding contract. When you withhold something like that in order to get someone's money, that's an element of fraud. You knew full well that I had no idea you were giving me a worthless piece of paper.
Because everybody's going to forget.
Number one, no one pays money for a spousal support contract. Number two, No one agrees to a contract that is contingent on such a subjective performance. Clearly, you hid that contingency from me as well, or I would never have given my money. Number 3, if your intent was genuinely to provide Kent Hovind's wife a monthly allowance, all you had to do was give me a credit card, and you could take it back whenever you wanted. No contract would have been needed. And fourthly, a 20-year term would certainly not appear on a contract that you claim is only good as long as I'm a biblical spouse. This is serious slander. This is cult-like behavior. I was told to shut my pie hole. I was told to stop talking and come to bed, honey. I was called a fucking bitch, a greedy bitch. The body slam incident of October 25th of last year was caused by Kent Hovind's intentionally provoking and escalating my anger by refusing to turn off the recorder despite my right and my objection. I did not consent to being recorded. Rather, he held the phone over my head so I couldn't reach it, smiled, and watched me get angrier and angrier. This is the opposite of what a loving husband would do. Kent Hovind must maintain his image as the poor victim, stuck with yet another terrible wife, so that his donor income stream doesn't stop. Donors won't give if they see the truth that Kent Hovind, his godless behavior, his unchristian behavior, has cost him 3 marriages to 3 godly women who loved him and served this ministry with all their hearts. This is Con Artist 101. So you can steal my money and throw me out the door like trash.
So she's going to post that. She has not yet. If she does, of course, we're going to have to respond to every sentence in here. I'd rather keep this private. If she wants to make it public, we can make it public. But
hopefully the public will never have to see it.
I agree.
Yeah, it sounds like there's a debt or a possible debt. I'll say this. Was it a loan or was it a donation? Well, if it was a loan, the burden of proof is on Cindy. If it was a donation, the burden of proof is on the pastor and possibly even on the ministry. That means that different people can interpret the facts in different ways. So you're going to have to prove that it was a loan, Miss Lincoln. You're going to have to prove that it was a donation, Pastor Hovind. And the burden is on each of you. So what I would say is that how much is Miss Lincoln owed? I don't know. Is it 100, 110? Is it 50? I'm not sure I heard a clear number. Maybe we should start there. Whenever you negotiate, you start at numbers. Maybe Miss Cindy starts at 100. Maybe Pastor Hovind will start at 40, or maybe he'll start at 0. That's what I recommend. Let's proffer a settlement amount.
Right. And Alex, you and I have talked many times, and I've told you and I've told everybody, I want to be fair and honest.
So number one, I would point out there was no loan amount. There was no interest.
All right.
And I know in a court of law, she'd go nowhere because she said she donated it. But I still want to be fair and honest. And if I owe her something, I'll pay her. But I've said for the whole time she's been gone, Cindy, you made a contract 3 years ago to be my wife, and you left. And I paid you after you left. I kept paying you after you left. So she could come back today and be wife and keep getting $1,300 a month for the next 300 years.
What an asshole!
Ken Ham does this, I believe. And we don't borrow money for anything. I didn't borrow money. I don't borrow money for things. I've already paid her back for 2 years, $1,300 a month, plus gave her $10,000, plus gave her $5,000 when I sold my motorcycle, plus gave her $500 2 weeks ago. I mean, I want her to be made whole. But so let's assume the numbers are right. I've paid her back about $50,000 in the last 2 years. I don't think. So she thinks she still steals out the number 133,000 as if I've not given her 50, Well, why does she never say anything about the money I've given her?
That's not the case.
What do you mean it's not the case? Simple question.
She knows that you've given her.
She never says anything about that.
All the ledgers I've seen that she showed me, she's including all the monies you've ever given.
Okay.
The only comment I'll have at this time is she produced a list of 6 pages of expenditures and gave it to us, and it totals $210,084 and I think 45 cents.
And I don't want to cause any trouble. It's not going to happen.
Yeah.
If I owe something, I'll pay it. Not going to happen.
Yeah.
Alex, in a court of law, legally, this is your field of expertise. Would I be correct to say there's no legal obligation for CSE or for me or for anybody to pay her back anything, but it certainly would never borrow $130,000. I've never borrowed money. Well, very rarely. Money. I don't have anything to do with the money here. I've never borrowed money. Well, very rarely. I would never have borrowed money from anybody in my life. I've never borrowed money. Well, very rarely. So this is spousal support. Cindy, come back. You can still get your spousal support. I've never borrowed money. Well, very rarely. Well, there was never anything in the contract about a one lump sum payment, and there won't be any. I don't have it. The manager doesn't have it. It's not going to happen.
Yeah.
And in the big picture of things, we're only talking about a small amount of money. I connived all this stuff. Not going to happen.
Yeah.
It's not like it was. She's now starving to death because of this. She said I body slammed her. I did not body slam her. She blocked me in, yelling and screaming at me. It's all on audio tape. I said, Cindy, I've been told I have to record this when you do this. Please, I want to go. And this was all her. And I've told her since then. She said, would you pay my medical bill $2,000? The body slam incident was 100% her fault. I said, Cindy, yes, if you'll admit I didn't body slam you, and I didn't. She said I body slammed her. I did not body slam her. The body slam incident was 100% her fault, but I have absolutely nothing to be ashamed of with my behavior. Yes, if you'll admit I didn't body slam you, and I didn't. If she publishes this 20-minute thing, which she's welcome to do, right, there's no permission from us to publish this or use this material publicly in any way. I will falling on the ground looks like a body slam. She said I body slammed her. I did not body slam her. I would still take her back today if there were a little more careful prenuptial agreement this time. And in the big picture of things, we're only talking about a small amount of money. Let's say it's $250,000 even. We're only talking about a small amount of money. Okay.
Exactly.
Well,
why don't you work out a program to pay back the $130,000?
We're only talking about a small amount of money. If you want to make it public, we can do that. I did that with Theodore. I did that when Mary left. So for the record, if I owe something, I will pay it. I connived all this stuff. I have 615 recordings of her. I want her to repent. I don't need to repent. I connived all this stuff. The body slam incident was 100% her fault. I have an audio recording of it. Yes, if you'll admit I didn't body slam you, and I didn't. But she never admits fault. Somebody's either lying or they have a poor memory and don't remember the details of what happened, because everybody's going to forget. She's going around telling people that I body slammed her. The body slam incident was 100% her fault. That's where the problem comes in. Makes me look like I did something wrong, and I didn't. For the body slam incident, I did not, but I said, Cindy, I will pay half the medical bill, $1,000, if you will sign a paper saying I didn't body slam you tonight, right now. I'll take her to dinner, give her $1,000 if she'll sign that paper. I have studied a little bit, actually quite a bit, karate and judo, and if I body slammed her, she'd still be sleeping.
Excuse me, the fuck did you just say?
I have studied a little bit, actually quite a bit, karate and judo, and if I body slammed her, she'd still be sleeping.
I've fallen, and I can't get